How do you achieve your greatness?
There's no margin for error.
No room for mistakes.
You need total control.
Your success is determined by your grit.
It takes thousands of hours perfecting your moves.
And only the strong survive.
You think you've paid your dues?
You think you're ready to enter the arena?
Think again.
This is the Telkom Digital Gaming League,
This is where legends fight till the last second.
where the action explodes straight through your system.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. This is your boy Lache, sponsored by Chaotech, and we are in the Amber Cup Digital Gaming League, Sin5-Valhalla versus Ventus Red, and this is game number 1. Very interesting game. I am going to follow the winner of this particular series to the next round, which will be played tomorrow. And that's just going to make it a little bit easier in terms of the game. Shippy unfortunately won't be joining me once again. He's got some things to sort out on his side, but I'm sure he will be back as soon as he possibly can. But let's not delay and get straight into the action. The first ban out for the side of Sin5-Valhalla is the Magnus, and on the side of Ventus they have decided to take out the Truant Protector. I think from the previous game that they played last night, Truant was also one of the very first bans that got kicked out. So if the game does go late game, there's not going to be any additional wards on the map that Truant does bring into the game. We are currently waiting for the second ban from the side of Ventus Red. I'd like to see where they're going to go with this particular draft. Ooh, and they have decided to take out the Monkey King. Very nice ban out there. So Monkey King isn't one of those, in my personal opinion, one of those epic heroes which you really need to worry about. If you can manage to pick up an Enigma, that will sort out the Monkey King very easily. However, if the Enigma does get banned out, you can always rely on the Beastmaster to also scout out with the Hawk. So Monkey King in a certain respect is easily counterable, and maybe I would have gone for a different type of ban. But Ventus Red have decided to take that one out, and the Abaddon is the second ban out for the side of Sin5-Valhalla. Now, the Sin5 and the Ventus teams, I think they've got a couple of teams, each one of them, and they're doing very well. But unfortunately the road ends for one of these teams after the series ends. This is a best of 3 game, and the team that wins has an opportunity at the end of the Amber Cup to go through to the Masters. I think there's another 1 or 2 cups after that just to try and get some more teams, and it would be interesting to see who will actually get into the Masters. So the Jar Ranger is the first pickup for Sin5-Valhalla. I do like this pick though. He does have the precision aura as well as the marksmanship, which does make Jar Ranger very dangerous, and also the frost arrows with the gust that does do silence. Crystal Maiden is probably one of my favorite support heroes, especially with the arcane aura. I do love pumping the Crystal Nova, the Frostbite, and then that very dangerous freezing field ulti. Sin5-Valhalla have decided to go for the Centaur Warrunner. He does have the Stampede available, so he is going to be able to reduce the damage by 60% for the entire team if he does manage to pick up the Agnum Scepter. I'm not entirely sure if they have changed that one as yet, but I will definitely have a look into that particular one. Ventus Red still need to pick up their second. They could potentially go for maybe a Juggernaut, which does work very well with the Crystal Maiden, or they can go for a more mana dependent type of team, which the Crystal Maiden definitely does help a lot. So 38 seconds in reserve time, and they have decided to go for the Clockwork. I do know that most of the time when the Clockwork does get picked up, the Shadow Fiend is not far behind. So Sin5-Valhalla have the option of removing the Shadow Fiend, because the cogs obviously gives the Shadow Fiend a little bit of additional damage at the start of the game, and that is going to help them quite a bit. The Lifestealer gets banned out, and that is Alex, which is the only female gamer in the team of Ventus Red who does play the Lifestealer very well. So big ups to Alex. They seem to be a little bit weary of her talent, and it's awesome to see that we have a multi-gender team trying to get into the Masters as well, and I'm really rooting for them. So just waiting for the third ban out for the side of Ventus Red, still using that reserve time. They've got about 20 seconds remaining, so they need to decide quick what it is that they do not want to play against. They might decide to go for an axe, maybe ban a dazzle. There's so many options that they can actually go for, but they have decided to take out the Templar Assassin. Very nice ban out in my opinion. Ventus Red plays that hero very well as well, and if I'm not mistaken, the Templar Assassin gets played by Death Note, who does do that very well. The Tinker gets banned out by Sin5. Obviously a bit wary of that split push, and would be awesome to see what they're going to try. Are they going to maybe go for their own sort of split push? Are they maybe going to go pick up a Nature's Prophet? It's interesting to see what they might actually go for. But the Vengeful Spirit now getting banned out by the side of Ventus Red. He does also bring the damage aura into the game and combos very well with the DGL Ranger or potentially even a Luna. So nice little ban out there for them. And maybe they can go for, let's see, Invoker getting picked up. Nice little one there for Sin5. And I know that the combination that Ventus Red actually used yesterday was the Life Stealer and the Clockwork. So Sin5 is very wary of that one. Ooh, they've decided to go for the Warlock. Oh, the Fatal Bonds definitely helps Ventus Red very much, especially in the team fights. That Shadow Word, which is going to heal the safe lane or the mid. The Upheaval, oh, extremely potent. And Chaotic Offering, that rock does so much damage. And that coupled with Fatal Bonds and Upheaval, that's a lot of damage coming through. But Sin5 has said we want to go with the Keeper of the Light. He does have the Blinding Light, which is going to help quite a bit against the Chaotic Offering. I'm going to try and miss as many spells as possible. You can also get, as I thought, the Shadow Fiend is going to get picked up. So that is the Necromastery that's going to be coupled with the Power Cogs, and that's going to be additional damage from the get-go. But getting back to the Keeper of the Light, he does have the recall ability, so if any one of the teammates does need to get into the battle very quickly, which most probably would be the Centaur War Runner, he can get called back to the team and get straight into fighting, and it will also help in terms of their split push. So Keeper of the Light, nice utility hero that they're picking up there. He's also got the Chakra Magic, which is going to provide them with additional mana, and the Mana Leak, which is going to stun one of the Ventus players. If they run out of mana, they will get stunned for a short duration. And now I see that Juggernaut is actually being banned out. Crystal Maiden Juggernaut, also a very good combination, and it is something that Sin5-Valhalla is aware of at the moment. See that Lina is currently being banned out by the side of Ventus Red. Lina also does do quite a bit of damage, and especially with her ultimate. Oh, they've decided to go for the Sniper once again. So I assume that would be Alex playing on the Sniper. She does play that hero very well. In the game that they had last night, it was clear to see she kept on farming, stayed in the lane, kept it going, and got some pretty nice farm. And we are still waiting now for the final the Faceless Void. Now that is very interesting. I mean, yes, the DGL Ranger does help the Faceless Void, especially in that Chronosphere, and Keeper of the Light with the Illuminate can do quite a bit of damage. But is that going to be enough to take out Ventus Red? Faceless Void doesn't really have that much backup. If he catches any of his teammates in that Chronosphere, it might spell disaster. He needs to time it very well, and has to have perfect chronos this particular game. Ventus Red is a very, very strong team to play against, and I'm going to go with Ventus Red for game number 1. I do like the lineup that they have. They do have a lot of mana regen, they do have initiation, they've got the sniper with the range, the Shadow Fiend that does quite a lot of damage, and Death Note I think will be playing on the Shadow Fiend in the mid lane, Sniper safe lane, Clockwork in the off lane, Crystal and Warlock as the supports. On the Centaur Warrunner, is it going to be Centaur and Keeper of the Light support? Faces Void in the off lane position and Drow Ranger in the safe lane, Invoker in the mid lane. It's going to be very, very interesting to see how they're actually going to get this team to synchronize. Alright, and we are into game number 1 for the Amber Cup, and this is Ventus Red versus Sin5-Valhalla. Just to introduce the side, Ventus Red on the Shadow Fiend, that will be played by Death Note. Warlock is played by Session. On the Clockwork, that will be played by Packet Lost God. Sniper will be played by Alex, and Crystal Maiden will be played by Izzet. The Centaur Warrunner is... what is happening here? 1, 2, 3, 4. Is this going to be 4v5? Well, this is interesting. They've decided to play 4v5, Sin5-Valhalla. Interesting. So let's get the introductions underway. The Centaur Warrunner will be played by Smashers 2018. Invoker will be played by FSM. The Keeper of the Light by Mr. Beckeling. And finally, Faceless Void will be played by Draver. I do think on the side of Sin5-Valhalla they will have a bit of a gold advantage, especially because they are playing 4v5, and we've got the Centaur Warrunner in the offlane position, you've got the Invoker mid, you've got Draver the Void in the top lane, as well as Mr. Beckeling, which is hiding in the bushes. Let's have a quick look to see the power cogs. Obviously for the Clockwork has been skilled up first, and it seems in the bot lane Izzet is wanting to start harassing. He's already picked up the Crystal Nova, and that's just going to give him a bit of vision whenever he casts a spell on one of the heroes, and that's just going to help him see what exactly is happening. At the mid lane, as usual, the Necromastery is being pumped up first by the Shadow Fiend, and Invoker has gone for the Sunstrike. So they need to be very, very careful, especially Izzet, who is starting to get very low at the moment. And in the top lane, Draver is already starting to take some damage, and that is with the Shadow Ward. The cogs come out from the Clockwork, and the Void is taking quite a bit of damage. He does have a healing salve as well as a tango, so I'm sure he would be fine there. Smashers is taking quite a bit of damage. Ooh, lots coming out there from that Crystal Nova. Ooh, could that be 1 or 2 shots that they actually missed? Oh. No return damage taken yet by the Centaur, and that is definitely going to hurt, especially the Crystal Maiden. Packet Loss has taken up the Battery Assault, who has used that, and the Void is just going to be able to get out. Ooh, Mr. Beckling being chased down by Session, smacking each other shot for shot. Shadow Word coming out, and Beckling is going to take additional damage, and very, very quickly he's just going to pop down a Tango and try to heal up as quick as possible. Very nice play there by Session, just pulling those creeps back and forcing or basically denying a creep pull. Very well done there by Session. Just ensuring that the creeps stay in lane. He wants the Clockwork to get as much farm as possible. Smasher in the bottom lane is taking a bit of damage, and now Draver might find himself in a bit of a situation. He does get the mana as the Time Walk. He is going to have to use that as much as possible in the game just to try and survive with the Clockwork as well as the Warlock. But Warlock does get stunned up, and he's going to be very careful because the Void actually does quite a bit of damage. So he's going to have to play it very, very safe, just using those cogs to try and get a Void back. Just having a quick look at the net worth currently. I think that is Alex on the Sniper, who is currently leading the net worth, followed by Shadow Fiend and the Clockwork. So it is 3 euros from the side of Ventus Red that is leading the net worth. I feel that the Void is losing out on quite a bit here. He's not really able to get to the creeps. Those cogs are definitely harassing him. And Mr. Beckling now in a bit of trouble. Battery Assault coming out. But Void is going after Session, and that could have been a mistake. He does have the Time Walk. He is going to use that. And they are just trying to kite and ensure that the Void stays alive. Session there just using that Shadow Word at the bottom lane. We do have Smashers 2018. He is looking for the... Is he going to go for the bounty? Is he looking for Izzet? Yes, he's going to go and pick up the bounty very quickly. I think Izzet has actually spotted him out. Ooh, and that is First Blood going to Packet Last Guard. And that is the Keeper of the Light. And it seems that is a solo kill there for him. And he's going to be very happy with that one. A little bit of overextension coming in from the Keeper of the Light. Is it just harassing? Ooh, and the shrapnel coming out as well, but Mr. Beckling is there. One more hit. Is Alex going to get it? No, but Mr. Beckling now also taking quite a bit of damage, and Izzet is just moving away from the battle. Looking in the mid lane, Death Note is starting to take on FSM right now. He needs to be careful. That Sunstrike is still available, as well as the Cold Snap, and any sidestep or misstep from the Shadow Fiend could mean a direct Sunstrike through the face. Mr. Beckling taking quite a bit of damage here, and he's going to go down to Izzet, who's going to be very happy with that kill. He does have the Sentry Ward available. In the top lane, Mr. Drever just standing inside of the bushes, just out of sight, and he's trying to still get that experience, even though he can't really get close to the creeps. But he does benefit when the creeps get pulled behind the tower, and that's just going to help him a bit. He does pop the healing salve. In the mid lane, Death Note and FSM trying to outfarm each other. Ooh, do we have a fight at the bottom? Alex just running back. Smashes 2018. Shrapnel coming out. Alex needs to be careful here. Stampede is not available yet, and he's almost there, so one more level to go, and that could put Alex in a very, very bad situation. So Alex is going to have to get some HP up just to survive this lane, even if it is just, you know, just a normal poor man's shield or stout shield that gets picked up, just to try and survive in the early stages of the game. Looking at the top lane, this Void is taking so much damage. But now, Mr. Beckling finding himself in a bit of trouble. He does get battery assaulted by the Clockwork. Easily turns around. He is going to use that Illuminate, and Packet Last Guard is just going to sidestep, move away from that, not going to take the damage. Death Note in the mid lane. Doing very, very well. He is currently leading the net worth at 3.2k, and that is followed by the Sniper, which is Alex on 2.7. And still 3 euros from the side of Ventus Red leading the net worth. Smashers halfway to his level 6, and I think his first target is going to want to be Alex. Oh, is it? You need to be very careful there. That Smashes 2018 is scouting you out. Faceless Void has got the poor man's shield. Is working his way towards his boots. Seems like he's going for strength treads, which is going to help him quite a bit, especially in terms of stats and survivability. Let's just get some additional damage going and attack a little bit faster. But still in the mid lane we have the Shadow Fiend currently with 75 additional damage. He has a 36 Necromastery, which is the maximum currently. And you have to be careful there. Only got 1 level of return on the Centaur Warrun, and that's followed by 3 levels in the Double Edge and the Hoof Stomp, which only has 1 level. Looking in the mid lane, it seems that Warlock is he going to try and gank? No, he's not going to gank. He just popped down a very quick ward, and he can see if anyone is TPing in, and that can also help him deward. If anyone does try and put a ward in the mid lane, he is going to be able to see that. But now Smashes 25 has got the Stampede going. It seems that he is going towards the mid lane. Death Note's in a lot of trouble there. He gets Illuminated Obsession there, does try and heal, stun, as well as the Sunstrike coming out. But beautiful kill there. Smashes and Death Note just taking each other out. Session did very well to keep the Shadow Fiend alive as long as he did, and the Sunstrike from the Invoker also missed, as the stun actually stopped him from moving, and that could have been an Invoker kill. But they did very well to survive, and Shadow Fiend and Centaur Warrunner has taken each other out in that engagement. Now Mr. Beckling's finding himself in a bit of trouble. The Assassinate is... Ooh! And Alex gets a cheeky kill, and that is with the Shrapnel as well as the Assassinate, and Crystal Nova being used by the Crystal Maiden. But it seems that the Void has also gone down in the top lane, and that is to Packet Lost God. Nicely played by him, doing very well. It does seem that the numbers game are starting to have an impact in the game. Yes, the side of Sin5-Valhalla do have the gold advantage, but they're not going to be able to cover the map as best they could. The heroes that they have, unfortunately, the Void and the Centaur and the Invoker and the Keeper of the Light, they're not going to be able to combat the Shadow Fiend and the Warlock on their own respectively. And the Clockwork, I mean, once Clockwork takes someone out or isolates anyone from a team fight, it's a little bit beautiful Chronosphere. This Sunstrike does come out. Death Note's tanking as much as he can, but he is going to go down. And now we have the Crystal Maiden, who is trying to battle it out. Ooh, David just jumping in, misses, and a nice little juke going there to the Crystal Maiden. But to get back to what I was saying in terms of the lineup that they have, if the Clockwork does manage to isolate any of these heroes, it is automatically 3 versus 4. So the side of Sin5-Valhalla, yes, they do have a gold advantage, but how much will they be able to keep up with this game? And especially with the way that the Void is being played in the meta game currently, I don't really see Sin5-Valhalla actually getting a win in game number 1. I'm not entirely sure why they were 4 though. Before the game started, they said that they were ready to go, and it doesn't seem that they have a 5th at the moment. Oh, nice little stun going there to Smashes. Blue Stomp as well. And Alex manages to get a kill. Very well done there. Session coming in with his rock, and nice little freeze coming in from Izzet. And that's basically all that the side of Ventus Red need to do. If they can keep up the pressure that they're applying now at the moment, it's already 5 versus 2, and that is definitely putting Sin5-Valhalla on the back foot. There's not much that they can really do. The Invoker is not that farmed up. He's got the Sunstrike as well as the Alacrity, But in terms of the items, he's only got the Null Talisman and the Boots of Speed. And that is going to put a hamper on things for him right now. His mana is only like 848. I mean, how many spells can he cast for that? I mean, the Sunstrike alone does about, or uses about 175. The Electricity does about 60. That's about, let's say 200. So he's going to be able to cast. Ooh, and we have an engagement, and that is from Packet Loss. Ghost Walk coming out from FSM. Ooh, Shadow Razors. And FSM is going to try and walk out of that one. We do have David that's sitting on the sideline. Chronosphere is activated. Death Note walking, and the Void actually being spotted out. Ooh, nice little carve there, just draining the mana from David. And ooh, Illuminate coming through. Packet Loss has activated the Blade Mail and it's doing quite a bit of damage, especially with that Battery Assault. Nice little Blinding Light coming out, and Death Note just got a beautiful double kill over there. And once again, it is 5 versus 2. I really don't see how Sin5-Valhalla is going to be able to do that. I'm not entirely sure why they're playing 4v5 though. There was no sort of explanation, and unfortunately they decided to play 4v5, and that might even count against them. Or potentially, I think it actually will count against them if the side of Ventus Red, like I mentioned before, keeps up the pressure as they are doing now. They're not allowing Sin5-Valhalla to get any sort of farm, and that's very dangerous. I mean, Alex alone is doing quite a bit of damage. She's got the Dragonlance up, working away towards the Maelstrom. I mean, just look at the range that she is shooting from to get to the tower. I mean, that tower is never even gonna attack her. Dravis Stall's got the Chronosphere. He's going to jump. Yes, he's going to get that onto Alex, but Packet Loss God is there. Nice little Sunstrike coming out, and just look how he isolates the Invoker, and you know, that's basically all they need to do. Alex manages to survive that with the help of Session, and that is the Shadow Word. Once again, 5 versus 2. Smashers just leading the creeps away, and nicely done there by Ventus Red. You know, they're sticking to what they need to do. You know, get those objectives, push out the lane, keep the pressure, and they're doing that very well. And it is quite easy to do that playing a 4 versus 5, especially at this level of play. Currently they are still pushing. I mean, that is all of the tier 1 towers gone, with a tier 2 on the side of Ventus Red. They've got all of their towers up. This bottom tower hasn't really lost any HP, then that's like 91 HP. It's still standing. There's no real creeps at the moment. This is the first proper creep wave to actually get this close to the tower. Now Centaur doing very well there to get back towards the top lane. Very good map awareness there, and just ensuring that now the Clockwork might be in a bit of trouble there. They're all gathered up, bunched up. I don't see a Smoke of Deceit. They might be... No, they're not using the Courier to get one. Basis Void has got the treads available. He is building his way towards the Manta. And the side of Ventus Red is just continually pushing, getting those towers down. You have Invoker in the top lane, which is solo. He gets scouted out by those rockets. Creep waves coming in, and that's going to be another tier 2 tower going down. And if Sin5-Valhalla do lose 2-0, unfortunately they are going to be out of the Amber Cup. They're not going to be able to advance. Alex still farming away, currently 30 net worth. I mean, look at the Shadow Fiend, already 8.6k net worth in this game. He's got the Hurricane Pike up, also with just the normal boots and the Ring of Aquila, easily able to farm, still with 36 Necromancy, which is the maximum currently. He has skilled up the attack speed, so you know, it's a lot of damage coming through. and Draver is going to have to be very, very careful. I'm not sure how the Faces Void is going to be able to farm up that Manta style. I would have maybe thought that, you know, pick up a Battle Fury just to get that farm up a little bit more, get that experience with the creep waves, and Alex currently does have the Maelstrom available. So they're going to go for the second tier tower at the top lane. They are following objectives. They're not really much worried about a tier 1 tower being taken down. I mean, that is 2 heroes already being taken out, and I don't think that they feel that that is a threat for them at the moment. They even have to push past the creep wave to try and pull it and get that wave down. So that's a tier 2 that's gone down. Still not a tier 1 for the side of Ventus Red. Packet Loss is there using that rocket. Just scouting out to see where exactly everyone is. Centaur now currently in the top lane. He is working his way towards his blink. He's got a 2k gold at the moment. Still got 250 to get to that blink. He can actually buy that blink right now, clearing out the creep wave quite nicely. I still don't feel that that is enough to get back into the game. What I am concerned about though is the fact that Ventus Red is actually backing away. They allowing the side of Sin5-Valhalla to get their farm up, and this is not what they need to do. With the gold advantage that Sin5-Valhalla is getting, and as you can see, the gold is ticking away very, very quickly, getting that additional gold, and that could work against them. It's all going to be part of the item progression on the side of Sin5-Valhalla to actually get back into this one. They are getting the Roshan, which is Ventus Red. They're really doing quite a bit of damage, and I mean especially Death Note, and a lot of damage coming through there from him. Alright, Alex is actually going to pick up the Aegis. I would have felt that they should rather give it to Death Note. I mean, he is the main carry. Also with the clockwork, they could also give it to him. I mean, you know, initiate, they take him down, and that will either force them to move forward or move back. It's a toss-up of what they can actually do, but I think the Chronosphere is actually still available. Void sitting on the sideline, he has actually been spotted out. Oh, is it doing very, very well there just to keep vision. But just look at that, the amount of damage coming through, and a very, very quick time walk from him just gets him out of a bit of a sticky situation. The first tier 1 tower going down, that is taken out there by Sin5-Valhalla. Illuminate coming through, and Centaur is now trying to force them to actually come back, but that does put his team in a very, very bad situation right now. If Ventus Red does decide to move forward, it is 3 versus 5. There is a lot of damage coming through, especially from the chaotic offering from the Warlock, and Packet Loss Guard with that initiation. He does have the Blade Mail available, and Death Note just standing outside of the base doing quite a bit of damage there. They need to be very, very careful at the moment. Alright, so we might have an engagement here. Void is really, really trying to get into that battle, but this little observer ward here, scouting him out quite nicely, giving Izzet that vision that he needs to actually get a nice little freeze off. He's still got the Crystal Nova. Draver's just going to time leap back, or time walk back rather. Still a lot of harassment coming out. Oh, and that is the Chronosphere coming out. Everyone at the back. Clockwork doing very, very nicely, just to isolate the Invoker once again. Can't really do anything, and this is pretty much GG. It's 21 minutes into the game. Nice little jump in there, and that's a Shadow Feed got to go down, but it is 4-for-1 trade-off, and it's a very, very easy push for the side of Ventus Red to get into the base. They can now obviously go for the top tower. If they, yes, they are going to go for that one. They have the option of going for either or. There are no towers outside of the base, but GG well played does get called, and the first win goes to Ventus Red, which is currently playing 4v5, and hopefully within game number 2 we will have a full 5-man team. But please do not go away, and I will be back very shortly. This is game number 1 for the Amber Cup. Ventus Red takes game 1, and I'll be back shortly.
How do you achieve your greatness?
There's no margin for error.
No room for mistakes.
You need total control.
Your success is determined by your grit.
It takes thousands of hours perfecting your moves.
And only the strong survive.
You think you've paid your dues?
You think you're ready to enter the arena?
Think again.
This is the Telkom Digital Gaming League,
This is where legends fight till the last second.
where the action explodes straight through your system.
And I am back, ladies and gentlemen, just with a very quick update. Sin5-Valhalla have decided to forfeit game number 2 due to the fact that they are playing 4v5 and unfortunately will not be able to continue. So the game goes to Ventus Red, which will advance to the next round. And I do apologize for that, guys. I know that you were looking forward to an exciting evening of Dota, but this is unfortunately where I'll be leaving you guys off. Have an absolutely awesome evening, and thank you very much for joining me. Please do not forget to like, share and subscribe, and help me grow as a caster for the DGL. And you guys, once again, thank you very much.